All right, Steven. So, hey, coming off a great night of boxing, obviously, Jermell Charlo showed so much heart in winning this fight against Castano. What did you think of the fight?
I mean, look, it's great for the sport when a big fight lives up to the hype, you know, and this one certainly did, and then some. And you really can't criticize either guy. Like nobody lost that fight. It could have gone, you know, 100 different ways. You know, it just happened. A punch here, a punch there makes all the difference. But you have to give it to Charlo. You know, there were points where it looks like he was starting to fade. He made an adjustment. He started boxing more, and just you broke him down. And like this is when you talk about warriors, and it's sort of it's an overused term,
yeah.
But it's really an accurate term when you look at the way those guys fought and the kind of show they put on tonight.
Multiple times, this guy had to really, really dig deep. I mean, the fifth round, it looked like he was in big trouble. He got rocked about 4 or 5 times to the head.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that any of us saw the character of Jermell Charlo the way we saw it tonight.
Look, I think we saw a different Jermell Charlo in the ring, you know, because look, that's what brings out the champion of fighters. He's being pushed, and that's why everybody pushes for that big fight. The big fight brings out the best in fighters, you know. But here, the other thing too, we're used to seeing a very, you know, cocky, you know, bordering on arrogant Jermell Charlo. We also saw a different Jermell Charlo after the fight, you know, a much more humble one, you know, which is ironic. You know, in the moment of his biggest victory, he was the most humble. So that was one of the most surprising things, you know, is that I think Jermell was genuinely touched by the significance of what he achieved, and it just, you know, it was a very, you know, in a night of big moments, it was a small moment, but it was very meaningful.
You know, and he deserves that moment, but I think what's one of the things that's interesting with these fighters, Canelo Alvarez, Josh Taylor, who have been undisputed champions, it's kind of like, what do they do now? Because like now they're talking about sanctioning fees for all these 4 belts.
Yeah.
Where does this leave Jermell Charlo? What do you see him doing next?
Well, look, I think there's, I think there are options here, and you know, first let's acknowledge, you know, when you talk about clearing out a division.
Yeah.
I mean, from Trout to Lubin to Rosario, you know, like he's sort of cleaned out the division. There's not really an argument. Now the good thing is we have a good young generation. Maybe it's a couple fights early, but there's a reason that Tim Tszyu came all the way back from Australia to this fight. There's a reason why Fundora came here, and it wasn't just to be fans. Look, I know Tim Tszyu believes that he does what Castano does, but better. He's a pressure fighter, and Tim Tszyu believes that pressure is the way to get to Jermell Charlo.